Listen carefully. Something greater than the temple is here. And if you had known what this means, I desire mercy, not sacrifice.
But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And all these things will be added to you.
What is actually important of the law. Justice and mercy and faithfulness. You blind guides, straining out an act.
Something happened in The Chosen Season 5, Episode 7, that changes everything we thought we knew about one of Jesus' closest followers. And the secret? It's been hiding in plain sight. It starts quietly. No fanfare, no thunder. Just an ordinary scene of the disciples together. Yet something feels off. One of them avoids eye contact. His hands tremble just enough for anyone paying attention to notice. For those who have followed the story so far, the tension is unmissable. The group is traveling, voices low as they recall miracles and dangers. But one disciple's mind is far away. His eyes avoid the crowds, even Jesus, drifting instead to something buried deep in his past. In a time when trust meant survival, a hidden truth could shatter the fragile unity they shared. This wasn't a small secret. It was the kind that could make every other disciple question his loyalty, maybe even his faith. We're given crumbs, a glance, a hesitation. But in S5E7, the thread finally unravels and you can almost feel the air grow heavier. Everyone senses something is about to break. What comes next doesn't just surprise the disciples, it makes us question everything we thought we knew about them. Here's the thing. Each of these men carries a lifetime of pain, doubt, and half-forgotten memories. And for one of them, the past is more fractured than the rest. Just like in our own lives, wounds often hide behind quiet smiles. But in this story, every scar matters. The reveal comes through a flashback, a vision that rewrites everything we assumed about his loyalty and fear. S5E7 gives us glimpses into each disciple's life before Jesus, raw, stripped down, standing in the ruins of who they once were. But one stands out. Not Matthew's tax booth, not Peter's fishing nets. This one belongs to Thomas. We're taken to his childhood, where Roman guards seize his father. No words, just the image, burned into his memory. Suddenly his skepticism isn't just disbelief, it's protection, a survival instinct shaped by loss, now surfacing as Jesus' enemies close in. It's a reminder, doubts aren't always spiritual, they're often emotional. Resistance in faith and in life can come from old wounds we don't even realize we're carrying. For Thomas, that flashback isn't random. It's a turning point, offering a path from fear into trust. But there's a catch. That memory is tied to someone who may soon appear. If they do, everything Thomas thought he'd buried could shatter wide open. Great stories rarely shout their secrets. They whisper them. You know the feeling when something's off but you can't quite name it? That's what this episode does, scattering small, easy-to-miss clues that only make sense in hindsight. Each moment is a breadcrumb. Flashbacks, small exchanges, even the order in which feet are washed. Episode 7's Last Supper scene shows Jesus washing Big James's feet first, then Thomas's, then Little James's, then Judas's. The order isn't random. Why did Thomas follow Big James so quickly? Maybe because he needed that unspoken permission, one act of affirmation before he could fully step into the moment. The flashbacks hit hard. In stark black and white, Simon Zealot wrestles with guilt over fallen brothers. Andrew and Philip relive run-ins with Roman corruption. Nathaniel's architectural dreams crumble in grief. And then there's Thomas. His memory cuts deepest. The day Roman guards took his father. Here's where it gets layered. Fans have noticed how these memories mirror what Jesus is about to endure: betrayal, loss, and suffering on every level. One comment summed it up perfectly. Thad's flashback made me cry. So beautifully intense. When Jesus kneels to wash Thomas's feet, it's more than an act of service. It's permission to be seen. That moment signals trust built not just on loyalty but on shared pain, as if Thomas is saying, I'm letting go of my past to embrace this moment. That's the real takeaway. Vulnerability is earned. These flashbacks aren't filler. They're emotional currency. They teach us to pay attention to silences, to hesitations, to gestures, because the truth often hides in plain sight. And this scene didn't just expose a wound, it unlocked a door. Someone tied to Thomas's trauma could be about to step back into his life. If that happens, his journey might find closure, or fracture entirely. You might think the high point here is the Last Supper or the foot washing itself, but the real power lies in what's revealed underneath. There's a pulse in the room, an invisible shift, like the moment a buried truth finally surfaces. That kind of tension is universal. The episode even opens in reverse. Jesus washing feet before the events unfold, each act setting off a chain of private confessions. Small triggers, a touch, a glance, pull the disciples into their pasts. Thomas's scene is the most haunting. The arrest of his father explains his distance, his guarded eyes, his readiness to doubt. That's his secret. Pain he's carried in silence until now. Judas's moment is just as heavy. Greeted by his sister's pride in his place beside the Messiah, he can't accept it without apology. Her words, the name Iscariot, will never be forgotten. Hit like prophecy. It's not only about betrayal, but the growing gap between who his family believes he is and who he's becoming. And then there's Mark, whose prophetic dream about the upper room has now come true. This was his home before it became the stage for history. His role isn't rooted in guilt, it's in destiny, finally unfolding before him. Together, Thomas's wound, Judas's burden, and Mark's calling converge in one quiet act, Jesus offering to wash their feet. It's not just humility, it's revelation. Pain, guilt, and purpose laid bare without a single direct confession. For us, it's a reminder that the biggest reveals often come in whispers, a pause, a shift in expression, a silent gesture. That's where the real story breathes. And still, there's something left unseen. These pasts, these burdens, point towards someone just beyond the frame. Someone with the power to shape what comes next. And when they arrive, everything could change. Here's the thing. Big reveals don't just end scenes. They send ripples forward, reshaping everything that follows. One conversation, one uncovered truth, and suddenly trust, relationships, even the future feel unsteady. That's exactly where the disciples stand now, right on the edge. This isn't just another stop before the crucifixion. It's a pivot point. Every emotional thread is tightening, and some are about to snap. For Thomas, that childhood trauma, the arrest of his father by Roman soldiers, now hangs over him like a shadow. As we move toward Gethsemane, with Roman presence thick in the air and betrayal rising from within, his past could dictate how he reacts when soldiers come again. For Judas, the talk with his sister and the burden of the Iscariot name marks a countdown. His loyalty is no longer quietly conflicted. It's shifting with every step. From here on, every glance and word will be weighed against the choice we know is coming. Then there's Mark, the man who dreamed of the upper room before it became reality. His home, once a place of prophecy fulfilled, will soon be remembered for betrayal, arrest, and fear. That shift, from joy to heartbreak, will change his role in ways that might stretch into Season 6. And it's not just these three. The entire group now feels unsteady. Seeds have been planted, memories, fears, unspoken tensions, that could either splinter them apart or bind them tighter when the storm hits. This is why The Chosen works so well right now. It's not merely retelling history, it's weaving emotional threads that make events we already know feel urgent and unpredictable. We know the Gospel's broad strokes. What we don't know is how each man will respond in those moments, shaped by wounds we've just seen. And here's the kicker. In the next 2 episodes, someone tied to Thomas's past could appear. someone who forces him to choose, cling to the wound that's defined him, or step fully into the trust Jesus is calling him to. Either choice will ripple across the entire group. What we've seen in Episode 7 is a pressure cooker. Quiet wounds exposed, ghosts stepping into the light, and familiar faces showing entirely new depths. Each look, each pause, each unfinished sentence adds another piece to a puzzle that's quickly coming together. And when it does, faith, loyalty, and fear will collide in one explosive moment. So, as we head into the next chapter, don't just watch for the big moments, watch the silences, the dropped eyes, the lines left unsaid. That's where The Chosen hides its most powerful truths, and where the next reveal is already waiting. If you're as locked in as I am, don't keep this to yourself. Share this video with other Chosen fans, drop your theories in the comments, and hit like so more people can join the discussion. And make sure you subscribe, because the next reveal is coming, and you won't want to miss it.